the powerhouses within understanding muscle function and composition, or as I like to call it, how to become a real-life superhero. Our bodies are intricate machines, and muscles are the powerhouses that drive our every move. Think of them as the engines in a sports car, but with fewer oil changes. Muscles are responsible for a wide range of functions, from the simple act of breathing to the explosive power of a sprinter. Yes, even that deep breath you take before diving into a pizza. They provide stability, generate heat, and allow us to interact with the world around us. Let's not forget, they make us look good in selfies. But what exactly are muscles made of? And how do they perform these incredible feats? Spoiler alert, it's not magic, but it's close. Muscles are composed of specialized cells called muscle fibers. Think of them as tiny, hard-working minions. These fibers are bundled together and surrounded by connective tissue, forming the muscles we see and feel. It's like a team of superheroes working together. There are three main types of muscle tissue: skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and cardiac muscle. Or, as I like to call them, the muscle trio. Skeletal muscles are the ones we consciously control, allowing us to move our limbs and perform voluntary actions, like waving at your crush or lifting that extra slice of cake. Smooth muscles, on the other hand, operate involuntarily, controlling functions such as digestion and blood flow. They're the behind-the-scenes crew making sure everything runs smoothly. Cardiac muscle, as its name suggests, is found exclusively in the heart, tirelessly pumping blood throughout our bodies. It's like the Energizer Bunny, but with more heart. Skeletal muscles, the focus of our muscle-building endeavors, are further categorized into different types based on their contraction speed and fatigue resistance. Yes, even muscles have their own personalities. Slow-twitch fibers, as their name implies, contract slowly and are highly resistant to fatigue. They're the marathon runners of the muscle world. They excel in endurance activities like long-distance running or cycling, or, chasing after your dog when it escapes. Fast-twitch fibers, on the other hand, contract rapidly and powerfully, but fatigue more quickly. They're the sprinters and weightlifters, always ready for a quick burst of action. They are essential for activities requiring short bursts of intense energy, such as sprinting or weightlifting, or grabbing the last slice of pizza before anyone else. Understanding the composition and different types of muscle fibers provides a foundation for comprehending the intricacies of muscle function and growth, and maybe impressing your friends with your newfound knowledge. As we delve deeper into the mechanisms of muscle activation, adaptation, and repair, we gain valuable insights into the remarkable capabilities of these biological powerhouses. So let's flex those brain muscles and get started. Your brain on muscle, unraveling the science of muscle activation. It's like a well-choreographed dance, but with more sweat and fewer sequins. The human body operates as an intricate network of interconnected systems, and muscle movement is a prime example of this interconnectedness in action. Think of it as a group project where everyone actually does their part. It all begins with a thought, a conscious decision to move, or in some cases, the sudden realization that you left the oven on. This thought originates in the brain's motor cortex, a region responsible for planning, controlling, and executing voluntary movements. It's like the brain's personal fitness trainer, but without the motivational quotes. From the motor cortex, a signal, an electrochemical impulse, is transmitted down the spinal cord, carrying instructions for the intended movement. It's like sending a text message, but with way more science involved. As the signal travels down the spinal cord, it branches out through a network of motor neurons, specialized nerve cells that act as messengers between the brain and the muscles. Think of them as the brain's personal couriers, but without the cool uniforms. Each motor neuron connects to a group of muscle fibers, forming what is known as a motor unit. It's like a team huddle, but with more flexing. The size of a motor unit varies depending on the muscle's function. Some are like precision instruments, while others are more like sledgehammers. Muscles responsible for fine motor skills, such as those in the hands, have smaller motor units, allowing for precise control. Perfect for playing the piano or winning at thumb wars. In contrast, muscles involved in powerful movements like those in the legs have larger motor units, enabling greater force generation. Ideal for kicking soccer balls or impressing at the gym. When the signal reaches the neuromuscular junction, the point where a motor neuron meets a muscle fiber, it triggers the release of a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. Think of it as the muscle's wake-up call. Acetylcholine binds to receptors on the muscle fiber's surface, initiating a cascade of events that ultimately leads to muscle contraction. It's like a domino effect, but with more grunting. This contraction is the fundamental mechanism by which muscles generate force and produce movement, or as we like to call it, the get-up-and-go effect. The process of muscle activation highlights the remarkable coordination between the nervous system and the muscular system. It's like a perfectly synchronized dance, but with more heavy breathing. From the initial thought to the final execution, a complex interplay of signals, neurotransmitters, and cellular responses allows us to move our bodies with precision and purpose, and sometimes just to reach the remote control. Rising to the challenge, or as I like to call it, Operation No Pain, No Gain. Let's dive into how muscles adapt to increased demand and why your muscles might be cursing you out. Our bodies possess an incredible ability to adapt to the demands we place upon them, much like how we adapt to Monday mornings. This adaptability is nowhere more evident than in our muscles, which respond to challenges by becoming stronger and more resilient, kind of like a superhero origin story. When we consistently push our muscles beyond their comfort zones, they undergo a remarkable transformation, a process known as muscle adaptation, or as I call it, muscle mutiny. One of the key drivers of muscle adaptation is the principle of progressive overload, which sounds like a fancy way of saying keep lifting heavier stuff. This involves the gradual increase of stress placed on the musculoskeletal system, or as your muscles might say, why are you doing this to us? When we lift weights, run farther, or engage in any form of physical activity that challenges our muscles, we create microscopic tears in the muscle fibers. Yes, you heard that right, we're literally tearing ourselves apart to get stronger. This damage, while seemingly undesirable, is actually the catalyst for growth and adaptation. It's like breaking a few eggs to make an omelette, but with more grunting. In response to this microscopic damage, the body initiates a repair process. Think of it as your muscles calling in the repair crew. Inflammatory molecules rush to the site of injury, triggering a cascade of events that ultimately lead to muscle protein synthesis, which is just a fancy way of saying muscle makeover. This is the process by which new muscle proteins are created. It's like your muscles are getting a fresh coat of paint. As new muscle proteins are synthesized, they repair the damaged fibers, making them larger and stronger than before. It's like upgrading from a regular car to a monster truck. This cycle of damage and repair is essential for muscle growth and adaptation. It's the circle of life, but with more sweat. By consistently challenging our muscles and providing them with the necessary nutrients and rest, we can stimulate this adaptive response and unlock our body's full potential. So, keep pushing. And remember, your muscles might hate you now, but they'll thank you later. Section 4. The art of rebuilding muscle damage, repair, and the path to growth. Or as I like to call it, how to break yourself and love it. The pursuit of muscle growth, often referred to as hypertrophy, involves a delicate dance between pushing our physical limits and allowing our bodies to recover and rebuild. It's like a tango, but with more grunting. Central to this process is the understanding that muscle growth is not simply about adding more muscle cells, rather it's about increasing the size and strength of existing muscle fibers. Think of it as upgrading your muscles from dial-up to fiber optic. This intricate process, driven by the body's remarkable ability to repair and rebuild, unfolds in stages. Kind of like a Netflix series, but with more sweat and fewer cliffhangers. As we subject our muscles to challenging workouts, engaging in activities like weightlifting or resistance training, we inevitably inflict microscopic tears within the muscle fibers. Yes, you heard that right, we're literally tearing ourselves apart for gains. These micro tears, while sounding alarming, are a natural and essential part of muscle growth. Think of it as a controlled demolition, but for your biceps. Think of it as a controlled form of damage. A necessary catalyst for triggering the body's repair mechanisms. It's like breaking a few eggs to make a muscle omelette. Upon sensing these micro tears, the body springs into action, initiating an inflammatory response. It's like your muscles are calling 911 and the body's emergency team is on the way. Inflammatory molecules like white blood cells rush to the site of damage, working diligently to remove cellular debris and prepare the area for repair. Think of them as the cleanup crew after a wild party. This inflammatory phase, often characterized by temporary soreness and inflammation, is a sign that the body is hard at work, laying the groundwork for muscle growth. It's like the muscle's way of saying, no pain, no gain. Following the initial inflammatory response, the body shifts its focus to the rebuilding phase. Time to bring in the construction crew. Satellite cells, specialized stem cells residing within muscle tissue, are activated and migrate to the damaged areas. Think of them as the muscle's personal repair team. These satellite cells, like skilled construction workers, fuse with existing muscle fibers, donating their nuclei and contributing to the synthesis of new muscle proteins. It's like a muscle makeover extreme edition. This influx of new proteins strengthens and thickens the muscle fibers, ultimately leading to increased muscle size and strength. So, next time you're sore, just remember, you're on the path to becoming a muscle superhero. Welcome to the most delicious and snooze-worthy chapter of our muscle growth journey. Today we're diving into the world of nutrition and rest, or as I like to call it, the eat, sleep, grow, repeat routine. First up, nutrition. Think of your muscles as tiny, hungry gremlins. Feed them junk and they'll throw a tantrum. But give them the good stuff, and they'll grow into mighty muscle monsters. So, put down that donut and pick up a protein shake. Your muscles will thank you. Now, let's talk about rest. Imagine your muscles are like your phone battery. If you don't charge them, they'll die. And nobody wants dead muscles. So, make sure you're getting enough sleep. And no, napping at your desk doesn't count. In conclusion, remember the golden rule. Eat well, sleep well, and your muscles will swell. And if all else fails, just remember to laugh. Because laughter is the best medicine. Except for, actual medicine. Welcome to the mysterious world of muscle atrophy. Or as I like to call it, the Great Muscle Vanishing Act. Imagine waking up one day, flexing in the mirror, and realizing your biceps have gone on vacation without you. That's muscle atrophy for you. It's like your muscles decided to take a sabbatical. So what causes this muscle disappearing act? Well, it turns out that sitting on the couch, binge-watching your favorite shows, and eating chips isn't exactly a muscle-building strategy. Who knew, right? When you don't use your muscles, they start to shrink. It's like they get bored and decide to pack up and leave. And when you finally need them, they're nowhere to be found. Talk about unreliable, but don't worry, there's hope. With a bit of effort, you can coax those muscles back. Just remember, they might need some convincing up, maybe a motivational speech or two, or a bribe. Muscles love a good bribe. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more fascinating insights.